And to let everyone know why the creation of the noisy chair happened, well, people wanted to share their story, concerns, and being loud. Well, I'm here to listen, have an opinion, and talk to people. That's what this is all about. My name is Dave, aka DJ Dave. Love being part of a new journey with amazing people on my podcast.
Appreciate you coming on board of the podcast. Thank you so much. And oh no, my God, it's like, and honestly, as I was talking to you about it, I'm admire musicians. I love live music. I just feel that music and mental health, which is a big concern now, that it all goes hand in hand. It's a really good aid to, as a great means to cope with that situation, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah. So I'd like to welcome Kiley Woodland. Correct? Did I say that right? All right. Awesome. And Kiley, thank you so much. And we're like, I guess, just tell us a bit. Where you're from. Tell us a bit about you. Where are you broadcasting from right now, and all the good stuff.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I am so happy to be here with you.
Awesome.
Really, really grateful that we connected, and I just really appreciate you holding space and providing a platform to share my story.
Yeah.
I am broadcasting from Boulder, Colorado.
Nice.
And yeah, we've got a spot here. It's on the border of Boulder, and we really like it out here. So
tell us a bit. You're living in Boulder. Is that where you're born and raised?
No, I was born and raised in Chicago.
Okay.
And then I spent the last decade or so in San Diego and Southern California area.
Okay, and so you've been central to east, central to west coast, and back to central. Yeah,
yep.
Cool.
And so now I'm out here, and it's been a great time. So I grew up being a singer-songwriter, and just picking up different instruments and going to different lessons. And then at about 12 years old, I really fell in love with the songwriting process and just creation in general.
Right.
And then I started a band, and then we, did some shows and touring and stuff. And then I started another band. And then, we ended up opening for acts like Kiss and going all around.
Love
playing
that.
South by Southwest.
Yes.
It was definitely a ride.
Jesus, how was that? I mean, fuck, you got to meet them too, obviously.
Yeah, the craziest part, it was on the Kiss cruise, which it has the most hyped up neurotic fans you will ever meet.
I can imagine.
And that was the craziest part of it.
Yeah.
Because we would play a show, and then I would be walking down the the halls of the boat to get back to where we were staying, and people would just start grabbing me. And I would be like, I'm not such a big person, and I, be kind of alarmed by it. But,
Right.
People meant well and stuff. They're just excited. But yeah, they were so hyped on everything Kiss. It was pretty amazing to see fans that were that excited.
Sure. Like true fans. Those are good. Those are good. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So what influenced you? Do you have family members that were into music? Who were your influence when you were growing up?
Growing up, my influences were Booker T and the MGs, the Beatles, Pink Floyd, Jethro Tull. I taught myself flute when I was a teenager, just looking up videos of Jethro Tull and Ian Anderson playing flute. And then I would just learn by ear. So I would hear the licks, and then I'd start copying them. And then I'd just sit there for hours until I could, play it.
Self-taught. I like it. I like that. And so just growing up, always into music, you had a couple bands going, and if you don't mind or want to say how old you are right now.
I'm 32.
Okay, perfect. So you've been doing this for a fair bit of time in your life, in your young life. And so music was always a big part of your everyday life, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so,
it was as a creative, how just that expression is just something you need to get out.
No, I know, and I saw that your tagline on your Facebook is like, I tell stories through music, and
Mhm.
so what kind of stories do you write about as you're growing up? Like, what do you about music? What stories do you write about for songwriting?
Hmm. It's definitely shifted in my life, but
Sure.
I think there's always been like this underlying theme of perseverance and like shared struggle.
Mm.
Um, I really like looking back on like the music that I have written. I really like writing songs that like sound happy, but lyrically are just like this brooding, melodramatic, like depressed, you know. So it has that like dichotomy between the
Yeah.
two, and it's like uplifting, but also
Yeah.
kind of gets you in the place.
Wow. I've never ever heard that type of mixture before. I'd like to hear it sometime. Where can I hear your music?
Yeah, you can hear our most recent project at the Lion and the River. Pretty much anywhere you can find music.
Okay, so The Lion in the River, and so like, I mean, on Spotify, I'll find you there,
Yeah,
and
yeah, I'll
okay,
drop you some
perfect.
links too. But
Yeah,
but
perfect.
yeah, the music that we're creating now has a lot of big themes to it. So
Okay.
it's kind of rooted in this alternative folk pop and
Okay.
with like edges of like rock and electronic.
Mm. Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's this type of music that being on the streets and seeing and hearing the bands. That's the type that we're seeing here in Toronto. Is that we're Toronto's like a very housey type of music, and of the genre that's out there. Also open format, but there are places that have a very cool, but yet like a very creative underground, electronica with the pop and the folk and that sort of stuff, and it's kind of cool hearing that. And
Mhm.
I like that, and I love listening to live music like that, and just hearing the lyrics, because they're always telling a story. Everything's telling a story of what it is, and that's what I love about it. And you have a great story to share. So like, I just when we talked about you know growing up in the music, and now, is the music your full-time career at the moment?
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
is, eh? That's awesome.
I mean, it's taken a little bit of a um I don't want to say sideline just because of, where we're at with things, but
Right.
my physical like condition right now, I am not able to perform on stages, which is, it's painful to say that,
Mm,
but I
right.
know at some point I'm going to make a full recovery. The Just to give a little bit of backstory, so I'm a singer-songwriter recording artist and was, touring with my band and gaining momentum when I started having this pain in my side. And normally I would just, like take some supplements or whatever. I come
Sure.
from a very holistic background, so going to the doctor was not like the very first, that's
Right.
what you do.
Right.
Anyway, the pain kept continuing, and I ended up going to the ER one day when I just felt like I couldn't like, lay in bed anymore with this pain in my side. Simultaneously, my life was kind of going in two different directions where we were gaining momentum, and I was realizing that the people that I had surrounded myself with were not the people I thought they were. So
Ah.
I was starting to feel like this internal tug of I have to change things, but I don't know how to change this because
Mm,
I'm so rooted in like what I'm doing and where I'm at, right? And I was prescribed one of the most commonly prescribed antibiotics in the entire world, which are called fluoroquinolones. And this class of antibiotics are known, and our own FDA states that these antibiotics cause severe mitochondrial damage.
right. Right.
So that can range from like tendon ruptures to severe central nervous system disruptances, neurological issues, kidney issues, heart issues, gut issues. Like it can wreck your entire body. But I was not aware of any of this, and no doctor ever told me about this.
That's
So
crazy.
it was super crazy. And the crazier on top of that was they call it the bomb going off. So a lot of people receive this medication at some point in their life. It's an antibiotic. Like, at what point in your life have you ever thought an antibiotic could put you in a wheelchair?
Mm-hmm.
I know for myself, I've never thought that.
Right.
So when I started to have what I thought was back pain in summer of 2022, which was a few years later after I received the antibiotic, I did not connect any of it to taking that antibiotic.
Sorry,
And so
sorry. It was like it was 2 years or 3 years after the fact.
3 years later.
Holy
They call it the
shit.
bomb going off. And
Yeah.
what provoked it was an NSAID, Aleve, anti-inflammatory, like pain
Yes.
over the
Yeah.
counter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I took some Aleve because I thought I had back pain. And after that, I couldn't walk anymore. So it basically, my life spiraled out. Everything fell like flat on its face and tipped upside down and shaken out. And I still didn't know that any of this was related to the antibiotic. So for the next like 3-4 months, I prayed harder in my life than I ever have before. I meditated deeper than I have ever. Just asking for answers, because I just didn't know what.
Where was when did this, like, when was that do you remember that time? I'm sure you do. The exact point of time where you could not get out of bed, you couldn't move, like this bomb went off. What did you feel? What happened?
I felt like this extreme like deep depression and anxiety, like pure dread looming over me. And I didn't know what was going on. I got to the point where I could not look in the mirror because I was having like these psychotic episodes, seeing stuff that was actually caused by the antibiotics. So this class of antibiotics, the reason that can happen is they are highly fluoridated. And what happens is, obviously I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but I do know that something with the process is they're highly fluoridated, and the fluoride can go and sit inside your cell. Basically, for an open-ended period of time. It could be one day that you feel a reaction. It could be a month. It could be 3 years or even 30 years. Through this process and sharing my story, I've met people that did not find out until 30 years later because they took something else that basically, activated the fluoride within their cells. And it basically that's why they call it the bomb going off, because the other things I felt was like extreme muscle fatigue. My tendons throughout my entire body felt like they were going to snap. Like even just existing, like laying on a couch was the most blinding tendon pain I have ever felt in my life. Like, I have never thought about my tendons the way that I have after being, they call it floxed. So yeah, it was a really crazy experience. And looking back, I can identify symptoms that I had right after I got the antibiotic, but it wasn't like what they call, like a serious reaction to it.
Right.
But things that I would look out for, if you do that, like a lot of people will overlook, are things like fatigue and brain fog and muscle stiffness or soreness, headaches, changes in like your vision and stuff like that. But these are all related to fluoroquinolone toxicity. So needless to say, I basically have spent the last 8 months using a wheelchair, and I'm using it less and less. Now I'm able to walk like 600 to 1,500 steps a day.
Awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah, but it's really, really crazy. And the unfortunate part is that a lot of our healthcare professionals are not educated on the topic. So a lot of them, in my experience, and a lot of the like thousands of people that I have spoken with about this topic, we're gaslit and told that we're crazy or it's just anxiety. When
Seriously,
it feels like you're dying.
Wow. Unbelievable. And they, like, from, I was just reading about this too, from 1997 to 2015 is where, they said 178 healthy people reported to the FDA that they took an oral fluoroquinolone and developed severe side effects. And then all of a sudden they started having these issues. But like, they were saying that they're telling them that, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. It's anxiety, or you're just, they just they wanted to suppress them with other medication, to make them, to forget about that fluoride that's in your body. And I think that's horseshit that they would go that direction and talk to you and tell you that, like, gaslit everybody and say that, oh, you know what you're talking about and this and that. Like, I know it's all about money and they don't give a shit about anything else. I get that. I'm with you on, trying to make a difference on how to educate people on what, about their bodies, about drugs that are not good for you. And for you, it's like, shit, man, you're in a wheelchair, and it stopped it slowed your career down quite a bit on the music side of things. So I didn't
Yeah.
mean, I didn't want to cut you off from there, but like, I get pissed off,
No,
and I always like to
really
be,
good.
I like to be vocal about, how I feel about stuff. And up in our neck of the woods, we obviously have a different healthcare system than the US does. So I want to learn from you, because we're in situations where, that, like, I don't like to take anything that, I'm like you. I usually would end up fight through it, or I'm okay with it, but if it's something really bad, I get it. I totally get that. But I'm very limited to what they put in my body, because I don't know about it. I'm not too sure what it is, right? So at that time, did you end up feeling that this was the right choice to take, or you didn't, or what? You didn't know about it?
That's a good question, and those are all really good points. I'm not sure that I felt like it was. I mean, I didn't feel like it was necessarily the wrong thing to do to go to the ER. I just remember feeling like, okay, everything that I'm doing is not working. So maybe I do have like an infection or something. Like, I just
Sure.
don't know, but I know that I can't keep going forward like this. And so the crazy part about it is that our own FDA says that fluoroquinolone antibiotics should be used only as a last line drug. A last line drug means you are in the ICU in sepsis shock, and fluoroquinolones may in fact just save your life. But if you are going in, especially without a diagnosis for anything else, something else should be used before fluoroquinolones, or at least should be talked about. And then at the very least, if you do need them, or there's absolutely nothing else you can get, you should know, you should be told about the risks. Because I just magically connected the dots from, I think I just say it's my guardian angels that connected me to that, because I was so crippled even in my hands that I could not pick up a single supplement. So I was not even using my phone, but I was seeking an answer and just saying, I cannot move forward like this. Like, even the suicidal ideation that comes along with this, often a lot of people feel, like, I know that I have a lot to live for, but the amount of times that I have thought, like, this would just be better if I just wasn't here anymore.
Oh man, I don't think that, shit. You never
No,
want
I
to
don't
think that.
anymore.
No, I know. I'm not saying no. No,
But I'm just
I didn't
saying
mean
that
that.
it's not you when you're
Right.
experiencing this and you
Yeah.
feel like, I felt like a foreign entity took over my body.
Right.
And so at that point, I'm aware of the fact that I'm like, this isn't me. Like, I have enough clarity, even though I have, at this time I was feeling like, wow, I have so much brain fog and I can't make sense of any of this, and I don't know what's going on, and my body's degrading and I can't care for myself anymore. And like, what the hell? Like, you just start freaking out. It's like your whole life is put on hold, and then you're being gaslit and told that you're crazy, or here, take these antidepressants, when in fact, if you take an antidepressant after your flocks, it can make you so much worse. Yeah, so there's all these other drug interactions. There's vitamin interactions like B6, that is a known neurotoxin that can flare you, and even stuff like tonic water. Once you're floxed, it can wreck you because there's quinine in it. So the entire topic is like very well known in terms of like what our FDA reps and everything. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like I did not have a diagnosis. I should have never been given fluoroquinolones, but it was the one time in my life that I ever went to like the doctor or an ER and just blindly trusted
Right.
someone who said, this is going to help you.
And
And
that's what I don't understand, is that it's going to happen to all hospitals and doctors and ERs. There should be a procedure, a standard procedure on this, where it's like you just said it. If this is the last resort that you need to take, there should be a full disclosure and full waivers that, hey, this could potentially cause some side effects, and here's what they are. Do you want to take this? Like,
right.
I don't understand why they would just administer it to you and say, fucking take this. That's mind-boggling. Mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's really crazy. My experience is not unique, and that's the even more mind-blowing part, is the amount of people. So I started sharing my story online because I didn't have community or support for this.
Right.
Aside from having friends and family who did believe me, I had a whole set of family and friends that did not believe me and also thought I was crazy. So, you're going through this experience of like, life has ended as you know it. Your body's not working anymore. You have new symptoms popping up every single day. You have 25 to 40 major symptoms that you have no idea how to fix, because it's just this full spectrum experience. And so, yeah, I started sharing my story online, and the amount of messages I receive every single day from people who are also going through this is crazy. It is so like enlightening and also sad, because it's the state of, where we're at.
Right.
And so I'm just really trying to be the person that I needed a few years ago, knowing that this is commonly misdiagnosed as stuff like Lyme's disease, fibromyalgia, arthritis, chronic pain, MS, like all these different diseases, is often fluoroquinolone toxicity.
Man. Hey, listen, you can say it. I mean, I would say it too. Now, is this something that is like, are you getting people from worldwide, like in Canada as well? Yeah. Really, eh?
All over the world.
Shit.
Droves of people.
Wow. Fuck, man, that is crazy. Like, I hate hearing shit like that, especially, if we had to be in that situation where we had to go to the hospital for something and they don't tell us what that is, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just feel that there's some negligence involved in this. Not you, but in the higher up in the hospitals, the doctors, the pharmacists. I mean, like, obviously you can't get this over the counter, can you? You can't buy it over the counter.
No.
Okay.
You need a prescription for it.
So to me, I think there's some negligence on that part that I would question it. I would push it. I would fucking go to the beyond above and try to see, why are you doing this? Why can't you educate, the people? So, I mean, I know it's obviously about money, and the drug company. I get that. But I mean, it's like, Kiley, man, I mean, like, how many months? 9 months in a wheelchair so far? You've been in a wheelchair?
Yeah. I mean, I'm using it less and less. I mainly just
which is great.
The grocery store and stuff like that, because it's more the distance for me with the tendon issues. But yeah, it's when I say it's turned my life upside down, I mean, I never thought I would be talking about something like this. I mean, especially as a performer and like a recording artist, like you don't ever want to be like, hey, now I'm in a wheelchair.
Right.
How's it going for you?
I know. And I'm sure you don't want the pity calls, the pity text. You don't want none of that. You seem, and you seem like a very strong person, very strong minded, which is like probably 90% of a positive outcome in what you're coming up with. Because if you weren't, your mind is a very powerful fucking tool, and it to be that strong minded, that's 90% of your battle. 90% of your battle. So, oh man, I know you're gonna be fine. I could feel it. Like I could feel the energy, and I know that thing, it's gonna work out, because when before I was researching you, and we were talking online about coming on board on my show, but beforehand, I'm like, when I saw you online and you're telling your story about, just quickly were telling your story about what was going on, I'm like, I felt something to saying, you know what, I got to talk to her, because we can relate quite a few things, that we could relate to, and I'd love to know more about you, learn about you, and learn about, obviously the dark sides of this friggin' drug, because it's about education. I love educating people in conversation. I love to say that if I can help that one person, then I'm good. Like, I'm really good, and I think that you can. And I think that bringing up all this issues that we're coming up with, like, I mean, the antibiotics that you were talking about, that are Cipro and I guess Levaquin, you said, was one of them, and also Avalox was another one. Are these all let's see, fluoroquinolines, right?
Yeah.
Antibiotics. So in these type of situations, like if you had a joint or a bone infection, they would prescribe one of those 3 antibiotics to you, or to that person.
Maybe.
Possibly.
I know that they're prescribed for all sorts of things, from UTIs, stomach infections, ear infections, sinus infections. This could literally happen to anyone. And that's why I started sharing it, because I was like, wow, like if I had seen a video like one of the ones that I share a few years ago, my life would look completely differently right now.
And it's basically fluoride in your system, correct?
That's the part that is like the hardest to get out of your cells, and why people can have symptoms for like decades long, because it's really important to detox and then remineralize the mitochondria.
Yep.
So yeah, I've just been on a journey of doing that. I found one of the only like qualified doctors in the entire world who is a heaven sent. Shout out Dr. Galili. But
Good.
he is in LA, and he has helped many people who have been floxed. He was floxed himself a few years ago and healed himself. And yeah, I ended up seeing him when I really wasn't sure if I would survive what I was up against. And he helped me a lot, and really helped me like kick off my healing journey with all this. So since then, I've learned so much, and I feel like I've learned legitimately like an encyclopedia's worth from studies and personal experience, and talking with thousands of people, and learning more of the science behind how to actually detox and repair the cells. So I've been putting together a guide actually for anyone else who's struggling with this. So
awesome.
It basically includes like all of the things that I really needed at the beginning of this journey, and that I wish it didn't take me 9-10 months to learn. But yeah, so, and that could be found like anywhere on any of my social channels at Celebrate the Little Wins. It actually prompted me to start Celebrate the Little Wins, because I wasn't able to, like I said in the beginning of this, pick up even a supplement, like a pill, because my hands were so destroyed from this. Yeah. The pain and the like, you have like this joint cracking that happens. That's just like literally feels like your tendons are going to snap.
Jesus.
The cringiest feeling.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want my like worst enemy to feel that. But yeah, it prompted me to start Celebrate the Little Wins, which is kind of like this community of people that maybe going through a hard time and really have to focus on the little wins, so to speak, throughout your day. So if I can walk down the stairs in the morning and I don't have pain doing so, we're like, woohoo, that's a little win.
That's a huge win. These little wins, that's a huge win, I would think. Have you had to alter your place? Or no? Okay.
But I have had tendon flare-ups where I will be on the couch or in bed for like a week or two on end. So
man,
it's getting less and less. But yeah, I really felt like I didn't have like I wasn't going to be able to wait until I was fully healed from this
Right.
to start talking about it. So
Okay.
I'm just like, swallow your pride, push
Yeah.
aside your ego, get this information out. Like this is important right
Yeah.
now.
Hmm. I'm glad you did. I'm glad you're really pushing it. I was going to ask you about if you, with all this information, you can write a cool little book or a cool little pamphlet that you can, distribute to people anywhere that is, that has this type of condition or this situation they're in. I think would be fantastic, I'll share the links if you where they are, and obviously on contacting you if there's any, if they're in a certain situation. Now, I like the fact that you're advocating for yourself and advocating for the fact that, and even others too that are suffering from this, and I don't mean suffering in a bad way, like, but you're dealing with this situation.
Yeah, I hear you.
So I I like, we have this, we've been talking about issues like fluoride up in our neck of the woods, like in the waters and all this stuff, right? And it's like, I don't quite understand the logic of the fluoride in your system. Like, what the hell is that supposed to do to you? Like, I don't know. Like, do you know, like, why are they injecting the fluoride into your system? What is that supposed to do?
Well, that's a really great question
And I know you're not a doctor or a scientist. I get that. I just thought maybe you had something that you're like, you asked and said, why the fuck is it fluoride? Why can't it be like, shitty water or whatever it is? I don't know. I'm just saying, like, why fluoride? What is that supposed to do to your body internally?
I will preface this with saying this. I think this topic goes really deep.
Okay.
And
you want to go deep or no?
From what I know about fluoride is that if you are consuming fluoride, it will calcify your pineal gland. When that happens, the instances that you are thinking for yourself and making deliberate choices in your life are maybe not as high as if your pineal gland is not calcified. So,
where is that? Where is that pineal gland? Where is that? Like, where is it located? Like, where is it? Is it like more of in the like, where is that located? Where it calcifies? Where is it?
These are such questions. You're really putting me on the spot here.
Oh no, listen, don't worry. I can edit this shit out. Don't worry about me.
I'm pretty sure it's in your brain.
Yeah, I think so too, because if it's sensing different reactions or think processes, or it's got to be somewhere there, not anywhere else, not in your I figure glands are here and wherever it's going to be, but
here, Dave, like, we're going to talk about music and where's the pineal gland?
Hey, I'm interested. Like, I talk about anything, like anything, like that's just the way I am. I like to learn. I love learning from, like, you on this stuff, because it could be something that I may run into up here, and if they mention that word, I'll be like, fuck no, put that shit away from me. I don't want it. Is there another alternative?
Yeah,
I'm hoping that, like, in all seriousness, that they would offer different options, or if it's like now is a standard format where they go, okay, you can take this, this, and this. If that doesn't work, last resort, it's this, and here's the shit that might happen. Right?
I mean, it's kind of a luck of the draw from what I've learned.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of really qualified, amazing doctors and healthcare practitioners
100%.
out in the world. And I've also experienced the complete opposite, where there's just a lot that are not necessarily informed on the real detrimental dangers of this. And a lot of people think, oh, that's just a 1 in a billion chance of an adverse reaction. It's actually not. It's far more common than people think. And that's one of the reasons why I started sharing this, because I never heard of something like this before it happened to me.
Neither did I.
I was like the quintessential, I was vegan for 28 years. I grew up with, my parents had a garden. We grew our own food. my parents practiced Chinese medicine and herbal tinctures. I was doing acupuncture on myself when I was 5 years old. Like
Wow.
that was my world, you know.
Yeah.
Before I was floxed, I did yoga every single day. I was very much so into climbing and hiking, a very active lifestyle. I took 20 to 30 supplements every single day. Like it was just already part of my thing. So my point is like you don't have to be like this sickly person for this to happen to you.
Right. Right.
I was not.
You're healthy. You are healthy, but you're fit. You keep care of yourself internally and externally, and again, that all is a big part of your journey of healing. It's a big part, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, someone who is, you know, obese or very large, that has some, you know, immune deficiency, like they're just, you know, they're going to struggle with this and may not come out of it that well, right? So that's why it's imperative that, you know, we all try to educate ourselves in you know, learning proper ways of eating, and you know, just the toxicity of other things that are around us, whether it's people, whether it's, you know, it could be anything, you know, that's in the air. Like I just think that we take things for granted. And, you know, like I look back on how when we were younger, okay, and we never had, I never heard about, you know, allergies, like peanut allergies and all this allergies and all this symptoms that are coming up. Like I have 3 kids, and one of them is severely allergic to nut. He's a nut allergy, right? So, you know, so what I'm trying to get at is that I never even knew about these type of situations that we're running into now. They were totally unheard of back then when we were growing up, you know. And I get it. You know, things are changing, and there's shitty foods. There's processed stuff. There's like so much shit out there that we need to get away from. And, you know, not 100%, I get it, you know, people can't get rid of that stuff, but if we just take care of our bodies a bit better and educate ourselves in the medicines that are used for certain things. And that might be kind of tough to say, to really understand, maybe, because not everyone's going to believe a doctor what they're going to tell you. Okay, you go to the doctor, you say, "Doc, I got a pain in my side." Okay, well, Dave, you need to take this. You're always going to agree with that person because he's a doctor. It's like I take my card into a shop and they're like, "Oh, you need a water pump or whatever's going to be." Okay, we'll do it. And
you're like, "That's not the right stuff you should be pouring into my car."
Well, you should ask questions, but you should, you know, that's the thing. That's the whole point, is that we should be asking, well, what does that do? Like, what are the side effects, or is there another alternative, you know, if you're not comfortable, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what I say to people now is like, you know, take this information and become informed so you can advocate for yourself. Because I asked what it was and what I was getting with it, and I didn't know anything about it. So I trusted it. And, you know, it can be one decision like that changes the course of your entire life.
100%.
And sometimes years later. So
yeah, that's the scary part of it. Shit. You know, it's just fucking sitting there until a bomb goes off, you know? Wow.
Right. Or you take an NSAID because you're like, oh, this will help my headache.
Right. That's why we try to in our house not to take, you know, like if we have a headache, typically there's reasons why you have a headache, whether you're dehydrated, whether you didn't get enough sleep, you know. So there are things that if you just, you know, take care of it a bit, like for yourself, you know, there's no need for the suppressions or whatever that may be to help eliminate the headache and do this. Like I try not to take anything like that. If you got a hangover, I get it. Drink a Caesar, that'll take care of everything. It's all good. But, you know, so, or actually in the US, they call it a Bloody Mary. So, you know, you have that as a hangover drink. But in all seriousness, I think it's just like, it's just educating yourself and being an advocate for yourself. Right. And and you're already in that situation. You're in the healing process of that. What are some of the healing factors that are you using to help you to get through this?
That's a really good question. There are definitely a lot. Some of them that have been the most profound are definitely things like electrolytes and antioxidants. For instance, there's certain ones like alpha lipoic acid and vitamin E, CoQ10, things like that. NAD, vitamin and mineral IVs to remineralize the body. So high dose magnesium IVs, ALA, methylene blue, NAD, all of these do, different things in the body. And of course, none of this is medical advice, just sharing.
No, it's sharing between us and the world, because I know it's not, but what you were saying, what you're rhyming off to me is like things that I hear up here that we have practitioners that will, or holistic, or even Chinese medicine. We have this, you have this great person in San Diego. We actually have we have this gentleman, he's probably 85-year-old Chinese man, and he's a doctor, and they call him Master Lee. And basically he's like this amazing individual. He does acupuncture, does all that, and he will, it's one of those people that he just hovers over you and feels your energy, and then just says, okay, you know what? He will either align your body and your mind. That's what he does. Or if you have a certain area, like let's say you had a knee injury, a sports injury. I know we're just veering off a bit, but you're having a sports injury or a knee injury, and he will go and he will give you this concoction of like different teas and pine root teas, or pine needle teas, all that sort of stuff that really has these powerful antitoxins and these powerful natural absorptions that can go into your body that will help. So we have him up here, but he's a year booked right now, so nobody can get in. It's ridiculous, right? But so I get those terminology that you're using, that you're rhyming off, because it's like, yeah, you know what? I heard all about that, and I think, and I'm a firm believer of that. I would take that, as a method of healing and rejuvenating your body, than going to a pharmacy or drugstore and saying, what can I take for this? They don't fucking know, right?
Yeah, no, it's unfortunately most of the reaction, well, all the reaction that I've had in that area, and then a lot of people will write to me saying is that, they told me this wasn't possible.
Right.
So you don't trust our own FDA who says it is possible?
I wouldn't trust them. I don't trust them. Sorry, I don't trust that. But now you're in a healing process. So you have the injections that you're taking. How about people? Who's around you that's helping you heal you as well?
That's a huge thing, is boundaries. Is I realized kind of early on in this process that like anyone who was going to be adding stress into my life was just going to have to be a hard pass until I'm out of the woods with this. Because I just, you get to a point where it's just like you just literally can't handle anything else. The experience of your body basically falling apart is already so severe, and mentally it's already so hard to deal with, that the capacity mentally or emotionally is just, I feel like, goes out the window. So boundaries were a huge thing. And growing up in a family that was really like tight knit, I never had any example of what boundaries were. Everyone always knew what everyone's business was. I know everyone meant well, but it didn't lay any groundwork for actually understanding how to create boundaries in your life. So
gotcha.
That one is a massively huge one. And I'm glad you brought it up, because the people I have in my life right now is like very, very slim amount of people. And the only people that I have time for right now, and it's purely selfish because, that's, if I don't have my health, and just like if anyone doesn't have their health, everything else is just going to suffer because of it. So
100%.
Yeah, I definitely recommend strongly for anyone who's going through any kind of health crisis to really look hard at that one, because I was realizing that every single time I would talk to certain people, there would be certain types of reactions, or just saying, yeah, no, it's in your head, whatever. Like, it just added to the stress of my experience. And so then the next day I'd be in more pain or whatever. So yeah, the mental part of this is like, it's a constant reframing of the situation. And that's one of the reasons I think why I'm just trying to talk to as many people about this as possible, is because it's like, it literally is getting me through this. Because
absolutely,
I'm just in my house otherwise, like isolated, alone, lonely, like singing
for
to
sure.
myself, like,
but that's okay though. That's okay.
Yeah, exactly. We do well as artists, like just being isolated and stuff. But it reaches a certain point when like you've gone through like such devastation in terms of like what you can do, and even right now, I have days where I'm just bummed out because it's like, it's the summer and it's almost over, and I haven't even had a summer. Like, the entire last year of my life has just been completely derailed. Like, I haven't been able to work or do any, like, I can't hang out with friends. I mean, the moments I have had events planned or anything, like, I have to cancel them because my tendons are falling out of my body again. Like, they're ripping off my bones. I'm gonna have to join you next time. Like,
oh my God. I know tendonitis and tendon rupture is a big thing, right? That's what it just, and it feels like it's tearing from you.
Yeah, it's hard to find the words that actually describe like the pain, but I didn't know pain existed like this until I was floxed. And tendon pain has definitely been at the very top of the most like severe symptoms that I've had. But at the same time, I'm so fortunate that I did not have a tendon rupture. Okay, I just had micro tendon tears in my entire body. So that's kind of where I'm at now, is like, everything that I've done for my healing is working. And they basically say the acute phase for something like this is like the first 12 to 18 months. Oh, man. So I'm like, okay, I'm really lucky that I didn't need open heart surgery from this, which has happened to people, because it can attack your aortic valve. It's one of the valves, like, for instance, they'll say, it can attack your Achilles tendon and your aortic valve because those are two of the more dense
muscles, or
tendons that have dense collagen, and it basically deplete your collagen. So I'm super fortunate because none of that happened to me, but I've just dealt with severe pain, and to the point where it's like, it doesn't really feel like it describes the pain, but it kind of does. It's like, it feels like a cross between someone's like blowtorching off my limbs, and at the same time taking a steak knife and like carving it off for like maybe sometimes 12 hours to 24 hours on end.
Jesus Christ.
And the punchline to all of this is, since you are floxed, or if you are floxed, and you're experiencing something like this, you cannot take anything for pain of any kind, because you can reflux,
worsen it,
or worsen
you can worsen the condition. I totally agree with you. So it's the pain of enduring the pain is I could just only, I don't want to imagine it.
No, please don't. It's terrible. It's I'm grateful. I feel like I'm nearing the end of it, but I mean, even the last, like, yesterday was the first day that I was able to walk down the stairs in 6 days. Because of the tendon pain.
So, if you force yourself and endure the pain, can it do damage to your tendons? Like, can it actually rupture?
Absolutely. It's actually like the one kind of, so this type of injury, it's actually the one thing that if you do push through the pain, you could rupture a tendon.
And then you're done. Like, I mean, it'd be harder to happen.
Yeah, but that's pretty bad, if you rupture the tendon. Looking back, like, the amount of things that I did before, when I had minor issues, you are not supposed to, according to the FDA, even go for light walks if you take a fluoroquinolone.
Really?
All things I never knew. So
I know.
I was hiking and climbing, and so I just feel super fortunate and lucky that like I, even though it was serious, and I'm, still coming out of the woods, and it's been a long time and
Right.
brutal process. I'm just so lucky that like I didn't die from this.
No shit. It's and that's what I think. It's your mind tells you and tells your body that it's nope, not going to happen. We're going to get through this. We're going to make it happen. I'm getting rid of the people that I need to get rid of, or put them on hold, like pause on the
Pause.
put them on pause, right? Because it's or a hard stop. Listen, I get it, man. It's like I'm the same way. Like, hey, there's people that will call me and say, hey, listen, we don't, how come you didn't call me? This and that, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, like, I mean, I'm my mind is in a different space right now, and I'm going to focus on that space. So nothing against you. Like, not going to say you're whatever.
Right.
You just like, I just want to just like, you can't, I'm going to tell them that, listen, I don't want to deal with you anymore because I think you're toxic. If the person is very toxic, you're not dealing with them. You shouldn't be with them anyways. Okay.
Right.
You're already in a negative conversation with them. But there are people that are like, I really don't want to associate right now because it's like the manipulation or different conversations that can take your mind to another place. And I don't want that. Right. So, and I'm sure it's the same with you. Like, you're dealing with the right people that are in your lives. And are you allowed to have visitors over? Can you go see people or no?
Technically, yeah. I mean, it's really just my like the tendon pain is pretty unpredictable. So, it's one of those things where like I feel like I'm starting to attempt to plan my life again. I mean,
you should.
The last time we had booked doing this podcast, I was out with extreme hip pain, and I just, that's why I texted you like, hey, I have to reschedule because it's like, you make plans and then your body has a different
agenda.
So that's a little bit of the like, I'm not isolated in the way that like I'm sick and I'm gonna like give you something like,
right. You're not immune compromised, right? Like, your immune system is not down the toilet.
No. I mean, I'm feeling stronger than I ever have before.
Good.
But it's more of the tendon pain. And so I'll go from like being able to walk, around the main level of our house and cook again and do dishes and stuff like that. And then maybe within a couple days, like I, picked up one too many cans. And so then my shoulder's completely out of commission and I have to rest until it's not. So it's becoming less and less, like I said, but it's a really interesting experience when you're like, I'm planning my life again. And every time I like get derailed. So it just takes a lot of like mental stamina and to keep refocusing on like, well, I can do a million things more than I could do 10 months ago. And that's a major blessing, And I think with our music specifically, like we hit a point where there's been many times in the last almost year now where it's been like, we don't know if we're going to be able to do what we want to do anymore. And I think when you're hit with that reality, it is just like, it's fueled me in a way that I haven't experienced before, where I'm just like, I am stopping at nothing and to get back on stage.
Right. Perfect.
Like,
love
I'm
it.
running circles around you.
Yeah, I love that.
So
I love that feeling.
I have to share my voice and get like my message out of what I've been learning through all of this. And it just really puts things into perspective in a different way when it feels like your dreams are completely taken away.
Oh, I could imagine. I cannot imagine that. And your band members that you obviously they're still, are you guys doing little things you can to keep things going, or are you doing something more solo, like writing more music now? And is the band on a back burner right now, or what's happening?
That's a really good question. So I only have one band member now.
Okay.
But I have the best band member.
Perfect.
Amazing producer and songwriter and instrumentalist. And we have been building music projects together for probably the last, I think 10 plus years together now.
Awesome. Excellent.
He's my best friend. And so we are building.
Is he there now?
Oh, like right in here?
Is he with? Is it
No.
okay?
He is, yeah, he's my only band member.
Okay.
And
But you work together, like you're working together on some little projects here and
absolutely.
there.
Yeah,
Perfect.
we write music for all sorts of things, TV, commercial, film, stuff like that. And
Awesome.
so right
Excellent.
now we're working on a whole back catalog of songs that have come through from this time,
Yep.
and we're just still going for it. It looks different right now. We can't get on stage and go plan a show right now, but at some point in the not too distant future, I know that we'll be back at that.
Yeah. But is it really stopping you? Like, can you not go up on stage? Can you go up on stage with a wheelchair? Like,
I definitely, so I am open to the idea of going to go speak somewhere and
perfect.
that to
Yeah.
be like in a wheelchair, but I don't want to get back on stage until I can, in a music venue,
Gotcha. Okay. So it's more
until I can walk on stage, because
Gotcha.
like the way that I would move on stage before is just like I would just like flail and rock out, and I wasn't the singer that would just be there being like, I am a stiff board,
Right. Right. Yeah.
so
No. Listen. Yeah. For sure.
I have to do that for like my heart, and but yes, I am open to the fact of like, if it looks a little bit differently, I'm okay with that. But it's really just the unpredictability of the tendon pain right now and
Right.
booking things. So it's more so about like, I wouldn't want to book an entire event knowing that people are going to be coming out and making all this effort and then just being like, oh, I have tendon pain today and I can't do it.
Yeah. You have to be, there's got to be a buffer, in a just in case type of situation. It's going to happen. I totally get that. I think the guest speaking or speaking about this is I was gonna ask you about that, because I would be all over that, as you, just to go out and speak about that now. But you also have to, probably consider the backlash that you might get from, higher up or whatever may be, or the doctors that may manipulate conversations. Are you getting any of that flack from anybody?
Absolutely.
You are, eh?
It's something that, if you get hate online, you just don't talk about it. You just attention because you just flame it, really. Right. But yeah, I've definitely received hate for it, and people just being like, yeah, this is, bullshit or whatever. Like,
wow.
Including doctors, nurses, all across the board, regular citizens. I mean, it doesn't, this experience has taught me that a lot of people feel that in certain ways it questions your internal beliefs. So it's so much more than just, oh, this happened to this person and this is an experience. Like, this is, a lot of people have a hard time believing it because they're like, how could something like this exist? How could something like this happen? Or how could our medical system allow this to happen? Or say that it doesn't happen? It brings up a lot of, so I'm patient with it and understanding, about that. But yeah, it's really interesting experience the hate online. Yeah. And honestly, it fuels me. I'm just like, let's go. Like, I know what I've experienced.
Oh yeah.
I know what my truth is.
Sure. And you know what you believe. You know what you experienced it, man. You're experiencing it.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, that's really all that matters. I think no matter what you do in life, like if you know that you are speaking your truth and it's your story, like have at it,
You know what?
It's like to be in your shoes.
Yeah, exactly. And you're absolutely right. If you have the haters online, to me, that like you said, it fuels you because they actually listened to you and read your conversations about it. So they took the time to do that. So that they're listening and they're doing things. And if they hate it, sometimes you get people that hate you because like they just write it all like you're fucking, that's bullshit. But they took the time to read and listen to you. So that, to me, that tells me, hey, I'm glad you listened and you don't have your beliefs in it. No problem. That just keeps saying, I'm going to make sure that this is what I think it is. And I'm going to be an advocate about it, whether you like it or not. It's a free speech. I could say whatever I want to say. And this is my experience. It's what it is. You know?
I have learned through this that no matter what it is that you're talking about, if you stand for something, there will be people who disagree with you.
100%. 100%. And that's okay. You're going to get that. When you get people that citizens that say, "Oh, I think you're just how does a medicine do that?" And they're doctors and nurses. They're supposed to make you better and this and that. You know what? To me, and I rarely will ever judge anybody, because it's just I'm not like that, because I don't want people judging me. But you're going to get that anyway, so I don't care. So, but I think, to me, is like, those people are hiding behind the fact that they don't want to know the bad things about what that could really happen.
Right.
They're just convincing themselves, "Oh no, that's all bullshit." Those are doctors; they know what they're talking about. But until you experience it, you can't fucking say that.
Yeah.
Until you are in. You're in the line of fire with this shit, which is, I commend you on what you're doing. And I think just going back in our conversation, being an advocate for your body, being an advocate for yourselves, and asking questions, even to the doctors, to like, what is this going to do? Tell me the side effects. Well, is there other alternatives?
Right. Are there black box warnings?
Right. Exactly. Like all these things that I would think that would be so good for you for me to learn from you, and from everyone else to learn from you, is those things like be an advocate. Like in your case, be a guest speaker, like go up on stage and say, "Guys, this is what's happening in my experience." And then write it all down and write a little book about it and say, "Here are some of the things you can, if you do get fluxed." And by the way, I wanted to ask you, what is that term flux? Like, what does that mean?
It comes from the fluoro, or
is that what that is?
Fluoride. It's just kind of like a short for fluoroquinolone toxicity, because it's hard to say fluoroquinolone.
Oh yeah, okay. So that's what that means. Okay, because I'm sure people are going to text me and say, "What is flux? Like, what is that?" Like, so that's what that is. Okay, good.
It's kind of the short term for it.
It's a short term for it. Okay, perfect. And I'm gonna have it all on the screen when it goes live on Saturday. And this is great. I mean, like I learned a lot from you, and I learned the fact that we all have to be an advocate of ourselves. But for you to go through this is like, I feel you in that, and I wish you nothing but the absolute best for you, in the outcome, and to get back into the music and back on stage, and and just rock it, be out there, right?
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Oh my God. Like, I'm still going to come out to Colorado, because I want to visit Red Rock. I want to listen to a band there, and, and we'll have a coffee when we come down there, and I'll watch you play wherever you're going to play, because I know you're going to be back up on stage. So I think that, I wish you nothing but the best on that. And, it's great, and, it's just, when you say to get back into cooking and get back into doing dishes, man, it's like to do that before, and then as a normal routine, and then all of a sudden it just stops. And like, did you have like, were you living with someone that was caring for you? Like, how did you manage all this?
Yeah, I would not be here if I didn't have an amazing partner that was helping me through this. But yeah, I mean, it's funny. I joke around with my friends now. I say, if you feel stressed out or depressed or just anxious, and not wanting to
do anything,
you feel bad for yourself, or you're victimizing, whatever it is, if you feel bad about your life, lock yourself in a room for 7 days, and don't do anything, stare at a wall, and after 7 days is up, walk downstairs and just look at a different wall.
Yeah.
Like,
changes
perspective on gratitude and what you're grateful for. Like, the amount of like happiness that I felt to be able to like hold a glass again and drink out of it was, I don't know, just absolutely crazy. I mean, I remember this one time when There's multiple times, but one story that comes to mind, I was laying on the couch that we have in our family room, and there's a fireplace that is kind of to the left of it. And we had the fire going, and the fire was flickering. And at the time, I had such bad tendon pain throughout my entire body that I could not physically move. I was laying on the couch, and even just moving like a finger up like this was not possible for me at this point. I was laying on the couch, and I remember opening my eyes and looking over to, like, basically looking out, like, kind of to the left of my vision. I couldn't even turn my head at this point. I look over to the fire, and I see the fire flickering. And I just felt such a deep gratitude, like, wash throughout my entire body because I could still see. And,
Wow.
it's such a profound experience, but it's
shit. I felt that, just like, oh my God, man, that was deep, because it's like you have everything is all pain, but you get to see and use your mind and use that as a recoup, as a reality that, that's okay. It's gonna get better. I got this. And it's like, whew, man, that's crazy. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, it's something that I don't want to experience, obviously. And I'm sorry that you had to, and that you are to me, you're positive about speaking about it, which is great, because people ask you, and I'm sure you've been on a lot of podcasts, a lot of interviews where people are asking you stuff, and I hope you're okay with this, with the questions I've asked today, because it's basically, it's like they're all just, it's just talking to each other. And like, I was just making notes, of just like, certain things of what to ask you, but I'm like, you know what, let's just roll with it. And just, I love those type of conversations, those podcasts. I like to keep it at that, like, this type of length, because I want people to be engaged, and I don't want to lose anybody in our podcast. And that's why, interesting people like you just, resonate and brings people together, and just like, I want to know about what you're having. And now I know what to do and say, next time if I have to be admitted to the hospital or somewhere, that I want to know what's going on in my body. What are you doing? What are you putting this in my mouth for, or my arm? What is it? You have to be that way. And I think that's the key thing, is you just got to be open to talk to the doctors, or talk to anybody about it, and ask questions.
Absolutely. Ask questions.
Yeah. Just ask questions, ask Kiley, just ask Kiley anything, and I hope and I hope you don't mind that if there are people that do want to get a hold of you, is if there's an email that we can, we'll put up online, and they can just ask you questions, and or DM you. I know you said that you were more active on Instagram and TikTok
these days. Yeah, absolutely. I'm super open to it. I think the least I can do at this point is just pay it forward in any way possible. And to me, that looks a lot like just saying, hey, you should know this, listen up to this. Because it's just what I wish I knew. So I think if we can all kind of just understand that there's a lot of things like that happen throughout the course of our lives that we can pass on or pass forward to someone else. And to not discount that, like, we all have our strengths, and we all have things that have happened that maybe you didn't plan for them to happen or want for them to happen, but it is your responsibility from this point forward to move with grace and deal with it the best you can, and to, respond to it in a way that uplifts you and others, ideally.
You're right. Absolutely right. And that's you're such a positive person for that. And you're not making yourself feel sorry for me. You're not trying to portray that at all. Like, I think you're a strong individual, that's going to get through this, and and definitely, I think that there's got to be some ways of shit. I mean, I'm not saying like for negligence, like in suing the doctors or whatever it's got to be, but like, is that been on your mind at all?
I have done some research on the cases that have already been brought to court regarding fluoroquinolone toxicity, and there has not been any that have turned into anything other than just a headache. And
Right.
you know,
Okay. That's all you have to. That's all you have to say, because it's not about the money thing or whatever. It's just more of like, if it's going to create a headache for you, or if it's going to be tied up in courts all the time, because they have endless amount of resources to keep it going in the court system, it's not worth it. Not worth it.
There was a lot of examples of people who were successful with those cases. Then it might be a different story, but it's the complete opposite. And so for me at this point, it's like, just make as much noise as possible and educate people and teach people what I wish I knew.
100%.
Be that person. So no, but I really appreciate your time, and you've been just so gracious and just really pleasant to talk to. So I just really appreciate like your honesty, and you're a good person.
I really appreciate that. I never got that from anybody, so that's awesome.
I feel it, and I wouldn't say if I didn't feel it.
You're right. Okay, that's amazing. I really appreciate that. I do, because we don't get enough. I'm not saying we have to, pat ourselves on the back, but I mean, it's like I enjoy doing this. I love actually, I really really love doing this.
I can tell.
It's not my day job. It's just I'm in the studio, and it just I love interesting things to talk about, people like you, and it's great, whether it's music, whether it's information, business, life, it doesn't matter. That's why it's the Noisy Chair. It could be anything, and as long as it's great that we keep everyone engaged, and everyone can come out of it saying, wow, you know what? I learned something from that. And Kiley was a fucking awesome person to listen to. I'm sure she'd be great to chat with online if I need a question or anything that, whether I can get some literature about it. I think it's great,
Yeah, I can be found anywhere at Celebrate the Little Wins. We are also going to be launching a website very soon. And like I said earlier, we have a guide, like an ebook kind of thing coming out for fluoroquinolone, just a relief of what has gotten me through this. So again, it's not medical advice, but it's just, everything that's helped me through this phase of my life. And our music is anywhere at The Lion and the River.
Lion and the River. Okay, perfect. I will offline, we'll get all those links and I'll put it up, and definitely, this is gonna be great. I mean, I really appreciate you coming tonight and taking some time away from. I don't know how busy you are, but
thanks. I appreciate that. And when we play Red Rocks, I'll definitely be sending you some tickets.
You better do that, and that will happen for sure. That'll happen for sure. How was Gene Simmons as a person?
Very interesting. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay, all right. That could be a whole different story on that alone. Maybe we'll get to that one point in our time. So that's good. But Kiley, thank you so much for coming on board tonight. And listen, man, I appreciate you, and we'll definitely continue talking more down the road. I want to do a follow up and see how you're doing. And anything new that you want to share, please let me know, and we can talk again and make it happen.
Absolutely. We're buds now, so
hey, that's it. We definitely are. So definitely are. We'll keep it going. So Kiley, listen, thank you so much, and I wish you nothing but the best.
Thanks for having me.
All right, and be well, and wish you all the best in your healing process.
Thank you.
All right. You have a great day.
You too.